I'd like to know how you view your narc. And what I mean by narc is, how do you perceive the man or woman, whether it was a parent, a sibling, co-worker? How do you look at that person? The one who abused you. The one who essentially attempted to psychologically and spiritually, emotionally enslave you. How do you look at them? Do you look at them like someone with low self-esteem, which is what I was always taught about bullies? I think this is true for some of them. I don't think this is true for the malignant narc bully. But do you look at your abuser that way, as a poor, pitiful guy with low self-esteem who hates himself, thinks lowly of himself? Do you see your abuser as more of a victim than a criminal? Do you look at your abuser and say, the poor guy, he suffers brain damage. There's an abnormality in his brain. He hates himself, and he's acting out that self-hatred on me. I don't look at my abusers that way. And this is my opinion. I mean, we're all entitled to our own opinions. I come on here and share mine. It's just an opinion based on, reading the Bible, basically, studying the Bible. I believe the people who abused you, the narcs who abused you, not the assholes and the buttheads. There's plenty of those too. But I'm talking about the malignant narc, the conscienceless one, who set out to systematically annihilate you. I look at them as workers of iniquity. I think they are workers of iniquity. And I'm quoting, straight from the scripture. Workers of evil. Now, I'm a worker. I'm a blue-collar worker. And to me, when I hear the word worker, I think of, someone who applies himself to his job. And if he or she is worth their salt, they're going to practice their task until they get better and better and better at it. A worker worth his salt in the workforce, I'm talking, they take pride in their craft. They take pride in the job they do. Another word for a worker is a tradesman, someone with a trade. Or someone with a business, someone engaged in a business of some sort. The worker applies himself to his trade. He applies himself to his craft. It's no different with a worker of iniquity. Again, this is how I see the men and women, even those from my own family, within my own family. That's how I look at them. Are you saying you look at them as evil? Yes. Yes. Iniquity is such an interesting word. It means a lot more than sin. Every one of us sins. Every one of us misses the mark. Iniquity is different. I wish preachers would differentiate between the two. I found this online from the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia, in case you'd like to look it up. Their definition was much more expansive than this. But here's what they wrote, and I like it. Primarily, the word iniquity denotes not an action, but the attitude and the intentions of an action, and is so distinguished from sin. I bring this out because if you've ever approached thank God I haven't, but I've read plenty of stories like this. If you've ever approached a pastor or a counselor, a church counselor, with your story of abuse, often they will begin the, what's the word? The tactic of sin leveling. And essentially say, your husband, yes, he sinned, but you're a sinner too, and we all sin. We're all sinners, and you need to work it out with your abuser. Yes, he needs to love you more, but you need to check your own heart and see where you're missing it, because we're all sinners saved by grace. That's ignorance. The abuser is not simply a mere sinner, a man who has trouble controlling his emotions, controlling his appetites, controlling his selfish desires. We're all in that boat. We're all in that boat, man. Iniquity is different. The abuser is a worker, a practitioner of iniquity. In Psalm 5, chapter 5, verse 5 of Psalms, David wrote the following: The foolish shall not stand in thy sight, O Lord. You, God, thou hatest all workers of iniquity. That is such a huge statement, that God hates a certain type of person. John Gill, who I love, one of the most famous theologians of the modern era, he wrote this in his exposition of the entire Bible, a commentary on Psalm 5:5, and I'd like to read it to you. Not all that have sin in them or do sin are those who are workers of iniquity. For there are none without sin. Now he's going to give us the definition of the worker of iniquity or the malignant narcissist. They're the same, in my opinion. Workers of iniquity are those who give themselves up to work wickedness, who make wickedness the business of their life and are slaves to it. Workers of iniquity live in a continued series and course of ungodliness. This character does not only belong to openly profane sinners, but to professors of religion. And these are the objects of God's hatred. So this is how I look at my narc, my malignant narc. I've had garden variety narcs in my life too, and that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the malicious ones. I believe they are workers of iniquity, knowingly doing what they're doing, giving themselves up to what they're doing, making it their business. It's an act of their will. It's a choice. I do not believe, and I refute the idea in my own mind that they are simply self-loathing, self-hating people acting out some type of pathology on their victims. And I'm of this opinion also. Those who cling to that belief will never truly find release and healing from the damage that has been done to them.